Welcome back to In Fearless Conversation. Today's episode is an inner monologue from one of our former Boston Marathon and New York City Marathon charity runners. She ran both of those races for us. And she's now a 261 coach in New Jersey. She's clearly a massive supporter of women's empowerment and an absolute beacon of light, calm, and confidence. Our guest today is Rae Broderick. And for today's inner monologue, Rae shares with us her ramblings, reminders, and realizations about her running journey through the lens of Women's History Month. I love the honesty and rawness of Rae's inner monologue, how it really feels like you're listening to a friend reflecting on what running is really all about. It reminds me how connected we all are and how lucky we are to be able to run and to receive everything that running gives us. If you can, I recommend pouring yourself a cuppa, finding a comfy place to relax, and leaning in to today's inner monologue.
This Women's History Month feels more important, I suppose, than years past, at least for me. And when I think about my running journey and where I'm at now, I think of all of the ways I can still explore the expansiveness of this movement practice and ways that I can support myself while supporting others. And for me, that's kind of always what it has been about, even if I didn't know it. I came to running in 2020 to help battle really, really debilitating postpartum depression. I gave birth February 2020, and my stepdaughter came to live with us 48 hours prior to that. And then we went into a global lockdown a month later, and our family went from 3 to 5 in a very short period of time. And I did not know what to do. I remember being pregnant with my youngest, Bruce, and maybe it's because it's Bruce and it's born to run, but I remember being pregnant and really looking at people and running on the boardwalk and having this desire to run. And I do think it was my body's way of telling me something, that this was coming, that this journey with running was coming, because I couldn't wait to get out there and be one of those people on the boardwalk. And I started yoga in high school. I was never a runner. I had friends who were doing track and cross country, and the pasta parties sounded fun, but I never wanted to join them. And thank God I found yoga, because I feel like that's also an integral part of my yoga or my running practice. And I never set out to run marathons or run races or really do anything besides shift my energy. And, during those times of lockdown, there was a lot of running away, for sure. Running away from my reality, running away from childhood pain that I was starting to confront. And then it started to transition to kind of running through, right? Whatever was coming up. And sometimes that's still true, right? I find that movement tends to be this medicine. I've always gravitated toward movement to kind of shift things for me, whether it's yoga or running or Pilates or whatever, Tai Chi, shaking out my body, dancing in the living room. There's something to that. And now I feel like I'm kind of running toward the future, the great wide open out there. And as I started to get deeper into this running practice. And I call it a practice because every day it's different, and you can set out and have this intention of having this really great run, and it sucks, the weather's bad, or you didn't sleep well. And I think running has just become this reminder of meeting myself where I am. And I'm really grateful that I came to it having had, 20 years of yoga experience, because it really allowed me to kind of experience running without these expectations put on myself, and letting go of time. And I don't wear a watch when I run, even on a marathon course. I don't care. Now that we're 6 years from when I started running, I've run 6 marathons, which sounds nuts to me because I just never thought I would do something like that. But it's not about the races. It's become this way of running with and alongside these women that have come before me, and now working with 261 Fearless and working to get the Jersey Shore chapter off the ground and helping adaptive athletes, run these major races and widen the inclusivity of running. Similar to yoga, I've experienced a lot of communities that like to make people, especially women, feel smaller. You're not fast enough. You don't look this way. Oh, you're a charity runner. And I can't buy into that. I don't buy into that. And I don't want any part of any running community that is going to make women especially feel less than or like they don't belong. And inspired by Catherine and all of the women that have made this possible, that fearlessness of saying, no, I don't accept this, that I'm going to run at this pace and I'm going to be in this body and I'm going to meet myself where I am. And that's the power there. That's the fearlessness of showing up as you are, of putting in that work day after day, because it would be easier not to lace up your sneakers and get out there. And it would be easier to do something else that is more harmful to ourselves. And yeah, we need a good retail therapy session, or, I like to buy books, there's comfort in that, but being able to channel whatever it is you're feeling into movement and empower yourself and remind yourself of your strength is the type of fearlessness that I want to perpetuate and encourage other women to find. And I know it takes a certain level of discipline, and that can be scary. And you don't have to run marathons, and that's the thing that I think I'm focusing on now, trying to build these meet runs in this community, is that you don't have to run marathons. It's not about the end goal, it's about the process. And I think that's what's really amazing about running. Again, just meeting yourself where you are, finding like-minded people because they're out there. And I know that that's what I'm trying to do. I know that's what my fellow coaches are trying to do, is to remind women that we are perfect is exactly how we are. And we each bring our own unique energy to an experience, to a group, and the group is enriched by that. So when I run races and when I'm in a challenging run, or I'm out there having the best run of my life, I really think of the women that came before me, but now really I see it as us all running alongside one another. And if there's anything I can do to help break some doors down, open some windows, I'm going to do it. And a lot of my opinions maybe not so popular, but I really don't care about your time. I don't care about the fancy shoes you've got. We need to strip it back from being so performative to really tapping into how we're feeling and honoring that. And there's a fearlessness in that, in meeting yourself right where you are, honoring how you feel, and doing the next best thing for you. And sometimes that's a rest day, sometimes that's walking instead of running. It doesn't matter how it looks like, it matters how it feels. And that's a fearlessness, I think, that I aspire to day in, day out, that I encourage women to find within themselves, letting go of what it looks like and honoring how it feels. And I remember being on my way to the New York City Corral and somebody saying, somebody's asking, oh, what's their time, right? You do this thing that 1% of people do. Well, what was their time? Oh, it was the time of my life. And I really believe with that presence, that compassion, that grace that we can give ourselves and find within supportive communities, that can be true each and every time. So remember that forward is a pace, and tapping into that fearlessness, it's going to look different for everybody. And the more we can widen that space for people to explore it, for women to explore it, and to find that freedom and brave space, that fearless space to be, hot dang, we will be unstoppable.